What's up, y'all? So tonight we're going to expose the Extreme Makeover Home Edition. So if you grew up, let's say if you were alive in the 2000s, middle 2000s, maybe 2010 and above, there was this show called Extreme Makeover Home Edition. And on this show, can y'all hear me? Let me know and put a 1 in the chat just so that I'm clear. I know it's been a while. Thank y'all for joining. Just trying to get back in the habit of doing some flow stuff here. So let's see. Settings. Audio check. Okay, so we're good. Y'all can hear me. All right. So if you've seen Extreme Makeover Home Edition before, you know, those were some of the best episodes. You know, you could see people getting challenges resolved. They would do it often in about 7 days. And I thought it was incredible. I used to love watching into it and watching Ty do his thing. But apparently, not every good deed goes unpunished. And so we're going to check this out here to watch this expose and find out more about how the lives of these people were put in an even more worse condition than before they got this amazing makeover. All right, so let's jump into it. All right.
You guys ready to see what's behind this bus? Bus driver, move that bus!
These families struggle to maintain these houses.
Her dream home has become a nightmare.
We've been evicted.
I don't know where we're going to go, where we're going to end up.
Piece by piece, everything kind of started falling apart. When all that crumbles, I mean, you feel like a failure. Find some other place to live.
Everything changed after the TV cameras left town.
What they did to us was just wrong.
Man.
Let's get into it. Running a business shouldn't be a gamble. That's why you need Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From launching, they hired a new team for the 2020 series. They've got a new mission. There's still some backlash from what they had done in the past. And a big problem for these shows or these networks are that they are dealing with real people. So these people can come out and speak about their experiences, and we can...
Do y'all remember this show, Extreme Makeover Home Edition? Put yes in the chat.
See what happens to them after a series like this comes into their lives and intervenes. Now, the pitch was that host Jesse Tyler Ferguson and a design team transform the lives of some of America's most deserving families. From renovations to full builds, the team and an army of local volunteers build jaw-dropping homes in the matter of days. And while an upgrade sounds really amazing, like a dream home sounds great, I mean, I would be honored. A lot of these families came to find out that their home's renovation could quickly turn into a setback, increasing the property taxes and the bills that these homeowners could not afford. It kind of reminds me of like when YouTubers go and they give a free car to someone who could really use a new car. But when they get this car, they can't, one, maintain it because maintenance is too expensive, and two, they can't even afford the taxes on it or the insurance on it. So it's kind of setting them up to fail, but it's a good video. It seems like a great gift. So that's kind of why the show does this. Others saw their families torn apart from the stress, turning well-intended gifts into a catalyst for disaster. While it's clear that the host and the rest of the original team only wanted the best for the families they worked with, financial issues and interpersonal conflicts ultimately led to heartbreak and tragedy for some of these families on the show. Something I'm learning time and time again is that when it comes to television, they really don't care about the well-being of the subject matter, as long as it's good TV. And especially like ABC's Extreme Makeover, they wanted a big deal. They didn't want to just do minor updates that these people can afford. They wanted to create a wow factor so that when people watch the show, they told their friends, did you see that crazy house they built for this family? Like, it was a little dinky house that they turned into a mansion. And it's amazing that they can do this, but then these families are confused on how they're going to handle it all.
As wholesome as the concept might be, their intentions seem to be genuine. It's a show, first and foremost. It's exactly why they did the whole move that bus gag. It's a spectacle for the audience just as much as it is for the family in the episode. These families are just like, I would like a ramp for my son with disabilities to get around easier. Or, maybe they never got the chance to finish that basement. They're just like, great, we're going to blow up your house in comical fashion.
That is so true. I also wonder what kind of contracts these people are signing when they are giving up their home.
Now, see, it did have a lot of entertainment value for me. I like watching makeover shows, so this was really cool. But thinking about it in this regard, it's one of those things where it's like whoa, there's really a underbelly to these good deeds.
I mean, because it is their property, so they're just completely allowing these people to do whatever they want to. I don't think the family gets any kind of approval.
And replace it with a fucking castle. You like that? They definitely put the extreme in Extreme Makeover, that's for sure. So of course these families struggle to maintain these houses. The pure insanity of the show overshadows a lot of the genuine good deeds that they were trying to do.
I remember.
Let's get into one of our first families who have been ruined by this show, and it is the Oatmans. The Oatman family seemed like the perfect candidates for the home makeover and a fresh start. Debbie was a single mother raising 4 sons, 3 of whom were adopted. 2 of her adopted sons were diagnosed with HIV, and a mold issue in the family's home was a major selling point for the Oatmans to have their home renovated. So really, Debbie was in desperate need to have help. I mean, she had these kids. They weren't doing well. She's adopted them, sacrificed so much of herself for her family. She could really use the help. In 2007, the family's deteriorating home with a sinking foundation was replaced with a brand new home that had luxury amenities like new appliances, furniture, granite countertops. Unfortunately for the Oatman family, the home makeover could not repair the apparently deteriorating relationships between Debbie and her sons. That's a major problem when it comes to bringing regular people on TV, because all of their issues are highlighted.
In a 2011 interview with Times Union, Debbie's son Kevin said, "I honestly thought things would change after we moved into the house and it would make everything better. She was happy and excited for maybe the first week, and then it was back to the same old garbage." According to Kevin, his mother was prone to outbursts.
You okay?
I'm just overwhelmed.
The paper reported that 22 incident reports had been filed by local law enforcement at the Oatman home between 1997 and 2010.
Wait. So she's got an outburst problem and she's adopting children.
Right.
I mean, did they not do a background check? I mean, could they see that there were 22 incidents reported?
By 2011, Kevin and his brother Brian had left home after becoming estranged from Debbie. Debbie's ex-husband, Joe Gayton, told the publication, "The house didn't change her. She's still her plain old nasty self."
Not him calling her
Yo, that is crazy. But it goes to show that you can change some people's position and station in life, but if you don't address some of the core issues that got them to where they are, it doesn't change their reality. And that's kind of what this show did. It came in and say, "Oh, you need our help," but they really didn't take a holistic approach to solving people's issues. It's like, let's produce this show, let's get some views. And I mean, it did just that, but left a lot in the wake.
Old, plain, nasty self. So maybe the house changed, but the woman did not. And she wasn't as deserving as maybe the show thought she was. They should have done a background check. Now, this isn't the first time that the children fled from the home after the family had their extreme makeover.
I love that children get adopted, but there's something to be said. You got to look a little bit deeper.
Right. The Higgins family also left their new home and filed a lawsuit. In 2004, the Higgins children lost their mother and father within 10 weeks of each other, leaving all 5 siblings orphaned. What the hell? That's so sad. Poor family. That's so within 10 weeks of each other. I wonder, I feel like there's this theme where you die of a broken heart. I wonder if that was a situation, but the siblings were taken in by another family who had previously been the children's neighbors and who belonged to the same church. This family had 3 children themselves. So the addition of the family doubled occupants in the home. So the neighbors were nice enough and kind to adopt these children who were orphaned. I mean, that is huge. But now they've got a lot more responsibility. Here's a clip from their episode.
Good morning, Leonetti family.
Their selfless act of compassion saved another family from life on the streets.
The Higgins parents passed away. Now that left 5 kids without anyone to take care of them. They all moved into the Lee Media house and became one big family.
I just love them so much. Taking this in, man.
But now there's 11 people living in a 3-bedroom house.
It's a little crowded, to say the least.
11 people in a 3-bedroom house. I mean, that does sound really chaotic. So 11 people, 3-bedroom. And I'm assuming someone's in the living room. Let's put 2 in the living room.
I mean, I struggle with just me and my dog. 11 people. Let's keep watching.
Living room. Then that leaves 11, right? No, that leaves 9. So then 3 in each room, I guess. Wow.
The Extreme Makeover design team has just 7 days to build a dream home.
It's sweet that they have so many volunteers, but it's kind of scary to see all of those people just charging at this home. Now, within a matter of weeks, the crew replaced the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a 9-bedroom mansion. The Higgins children ended up leaving. The siblings alleged that the family created and orchestrated a campaign to drive out the Higgins by using race-based remarks to degrade and insult the children. Now, after leaving the brand new home, the Higgins children hired a lawyer to file a lawsuit against the family and ABC for damages on the allegations of fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and breach of contract. The family reportedly disputed the claims, and ABC had the breach of contract claims dismissed entirely. So really, the kids didn't have much of a case at all. It just seems like they had other conflicts. Now that this original family got this mansion, they didn't want these kids to be part of the home anymore, which is kind of sad because it seems like they almost used these kids.
That's exactly what they did. They used these kids to get this house, and once they got what they needed, kicked them out. Like, you wouldn't think that there was this much negativity around a show that's as wholesome as this. Golly.
Kids for this opportunity, and now that they got their mansion, they just kick them to the curb. So not so wholesome after all. After the siblings left the home that had been built to accommodate their new living situation, they reportedly ended up living apart from one another at friends' homes. He said, "We were promised a home by ABC and they broke that promise." Also, something that just came into my mind, they took a 3-bedroom home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, and made it into a 9-bedroom home, right? Like something pretty large. How does that work in the neighborhood? I mean, like, I'm sure the other homes around it aren't these big mansions. So it must be such a sore sight to see this, like, in this neighborhood. Now, there are other families who were forced to sell their home because they couldn't afford it. Let's talk a little bit about the Simpson family. Now, in 2010, the Simpson family was chosen by the show to have their home renovated to fit their family's growing needs. Jim and Carmen Simpson were more than deserving of the makeover. Jim ran a small company and the minister of a local church, while Carmen was a devoted stay-at-home mother who schooled the kids. Their youngest child, Zoe, was unfortunately born with hydrops fetus, which is a serious fetal condition with a 50% survival rate. To accommodate for Zoe's special needs, the team incorporated a therapy room just down the hall from his brothers and sisters that included a cork flooring and visually stimulating features to assist with his cognitive and motor development. The home also got a heated pool. So, wow, okay. Nice. And while this family got a home that they deserved and was accustomed to them and their needs, they couldn't afford it.
Simpson family still unpacking boxes after a week they will never, ever forget. At some point, though, the cameras will be gone and life will return to normal. Today, they spoke to our Deidre Johnson about where they go from here and the experience that has changed their lives.
The family is still trying to take it all in.
I keep having these moments where I just stand and just begin to reflect and think, how did I get here?
After being selected by the Extreme Home Makeover team, the little things like finding something in their brand new house has been a journey.
It felt like you were staying away somewhere else, you know, because you're in a new place and everything. But it was exciting.
I love the architecture of it. It's kind of American Gothic vibes.
And, you know, trying to find toilet paper, that was an adventure. Trying to find, you know, napkins or spoons or forks.
Many say that this house is a miracle,
For the Simpsons, though, the true miracle is the life they have lived and the blessings they have received.
Now, that was a really nice makeover, I must admit. But despite the house being perfect for the family's needs, the increase in bills and taxes eventually became too great for the family to keep up with. In 2011 and 2012, The Simpsons paid their steep property taxes several months late, accruing interest and penalties along the way. By 2012, the family decided to put the house up for sale. Quote, "This was the wisest decision for our family."
So if you've never owned a house, taxes have been going up consistently, and in some places taxes have taken people's mortgage from $1,200-$1,500 to about $2,500. And when your mortgage increases, or what you have to pay increases that much, it kind of prices you out of something that you could afford. So having a home is something that is like the American dream, but it's not as sweet as people make it, especially when you're not well informed about the cost of home ownership. And so probably selling their dream home was probably the best decision. Hopefully they were able to sell it and get lots of money for it, but that's unfortunate.
Right now, I do want to make sure everyone knows we're not ungrateful. Now, this was a similar fate for the Ovath family, who couldn't afford their taxes or utility bills as well. Now, 9-year-old Cassandra nominated the cancer ward she had spent time at for a makeover for the show in 2005. According to Desert News, her story inspired the show's producers to renovate their family home in addition to the hospital ward. Now, at the time of filming, the family was actually renting the home they lived in. Her mother told the news at the time, "We wanted their daughter to know what having a home is." The show's producers managed to buy the home that the family was living in, so they went to the landlord, offered a deal, and they bought out the house, which is crazy, so they could transfer ownership to the family. The final makeover transformed the 1,800 square foot rental into a 6-bedroom mansion, complete with a movie theater and a backyard carousel. Not a backyard carousel. That actually makes no sense. It sounds deranged. It just sounds like such an eyesore. And also, like, the upkeep of that, like, what if it were to get rusted? It just seems kind of stupid, again, for part of the show and the reaction it would get.
The Ovath family. This could be our coolest project ever. These guys sent us a tape, but they don't want us to renovate their house. What do they want? Well, it's a little different. Take a look at this tape. You'll see what I'm talking about.
We're the Uplift family.
Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Nikki. I'm Cassandra and I'm Kate. Come inside, we'll tell you our story.
So Brian and Nicole Ovath had a happy family, man. 5 kids and another one on the way. Then something really terrible happened. Their oldest daughter, Cassandra.
It's so interesting to me how all these families have so many children. I feel like that's not as common nowadays, is it? Are people still having like 5, 6 kids? If you're part of a family, comment below how many.
No. Well, I guess it depends. I come from a family. I always say my great grandmother had 17 kids, but the number is probably more like 13. And that I got my grandmother, which was born in the 50s. I don't know. Having kids, I got 1 dog, and I'm like, oh, I'm not having no kids. It's too much.
How many siblings do you have? I have 2 siblings, so we're 3, but like 5 kids, another one coming. It just sounds like a lot.
Andrew was diagnosed with cancer. This is an 8-year-old girl who's been through a lot.
The minute they told me it was neuroblastoma, my heart fell.
I have neuroblastoma stage 3.
They showed me those CAT scan pictures, and I never will ever forget the face on the doctor. She said, "Your daughter has a tumor."
I mean, that is a heartbreaking story. Of course, they want to help them out. Although the family didn't need to make home payments, the utility bills and property taxes soon became too great for their family. The monthly utility bill for the house jumped from $500 to $1,200, and the property taxes quintupled, so 5 times more. In 2008, the house went into foreclosure and the family had to sell 2 of their vehicles to cancel the auction sale. They ended up putting their house up for sale, lowering it from the asking price of $1.8 million to $800,000, then selling it for $540,000. It actually turns out that the family split up in 2010. So,
well, for a house that they didn't pay any money for, got deeded because of the show, they made $500K. I mean, this is wild, but that still feel like it's still a win. You know, you didn't make any investment and you walked away with $500,000. What do y'all think?
So seems like there was a lot of turmoil and unfortunately a lot of kids too for them to deal with. So now they need 2 houses for the kids to back and forth and stay at. So, and 5 of them too. That's something I found really fascinating about this series. Was there any point where these executives or these producers considered what the property taxes would be on these homes after the fact? I mean, in my opinion, it's clear that the people who are participating in this were not made aware of what they're getting into. Like the Nicholas family, they had mortgage problems. After the death of her husband, Arlene won a home makeover for her and her 3 sons. Her late husband, Tim, just passed away after a 7-year fight with hepatitis C, which he had thought to have contracted while working as a nurse. So I guess accidentally a needle had punctured him and he had caught it. So I think a lot of times hepatitis can come from various things, like typically like needles, like maybe like drug use and things like this, but he got it like on the job working, which is really unfortunate. The crew rebuilt the family home, hoping to give her a brand new start, free of charge. But reports say that state and banking officials reduced the home's mortgage from $140,000 to $30,000, which significantly lowered the interest rate as well. But after the makeover, the home's annual taxes increased from $2,000 to $7,500 in a year. Now, a car accident in 2010 set Arlene back, making it more difficult for her to make her mortgage payments. So from then on, she just never could catch up on her bills. So by 2017, the house had been foreclosed on. In an interview with the Lansing State Journal, Arlene told reporters that she had planned to build a memorial garden for Tim and open up a camp for grieving children. After her community came together to build her a dream house, Arlene wanted to find a way to show her appreciation. She said, "I feel bad because so many people came together for us. I know I shouldn't feel like I let them down, but I do." I know that ABC was not happy that this family caught up with the news to announce what had been happening, but here's a clip of what Arlene's situation became.
Her dream home has become a nightmare.
We've been evicted.
We were there as she scrambled to pack her furniture and personal belongings out of the 3,200 square foot house in Holt, Michigan. A moving van was parked out front as the family scrambles to gather all that they can.
The sheriff could show up at any moment right now, and we would have to leave whatever's left behind. And unfortunately, I haven't even had a chance.
Look how sad she is. I mean, this should be like part of the campaign for, or like a disclosure video. If you were to get onto the show, this may be you.
To go through everything.
It just took, a few unexpected emergencies. I got behind and I reached out and tried to work with the mortgage company, and my efforts were just.
That's wild. Like, would you rather, if you were in a situation of dire need, to get this kind of makeover or this blessing, for it to only be a curse, for you to lose everything, where you could have just maintained what you had? And that really goes to show is that, when they say if you give a broke person $1 million, they'll kill themselves, or they'll do more harm than it will good, because there's not a level of education that's there to say, hey, when you get this money, this is what this means. This is how you grow the money. This is how you invest the money. This is how you save the money. You keep money aside for taxes. Like, there's always something like this. This is so sad.
Kind of shoved under the carpet.
The next thing she knew, an eviction notice came in the mail.
I asked the judge if there was anything that could stop this, and he said no. And I said, not even health reasons, nothing. And he said, no, I have to go.
I don't know where we're going to go, where we're going to end up.
That is so sad. And that house is ridiculous. It's huge. It's beautiful. It looks amazing. It's actually kind of bizarre to see someone like her in that situation in a home like that, because it doesn't make sense.
The Hebert family.
Now look at this guy. He looks stressed out. The Herberts family's bills tripled after their makeover. Eric Herbert had his home renovated after becoming the caretaker of his late sister's twins. Unfortunately, after appearing on the show, the full-time construction worker began to feel overwhelmed by the increased bills generated by the new 3-bedroom, 3.5-bathroom house. The utility bills reportedly tripled after the family of 3 moved in. A little over 3 years later, after the show built the house, the Herberts were forced to leave after defaulting on payments. After the show aired, Eric's employer closed shop and he lost his job. In an interview with 4 News Now, Eric explained that he attempted and failed to start a business, which only worsened his financial situation. He was quoted saying, "I mean, the biggest thing was having to tell my kids that they lost their house." Regarding the selling of his house, Herbert told the News, "I'm doing it not to lose money. I just hope people understand the reality of it."
When Eric Hebert and his twin niece and nephew first walked through the door of this Extreme Makeover home, never did Eric imagine
Wait, look at this house. Why do they make them so extra looking?
that he'd be forced to leave 3.5 years later.
Piece by piece, everything kind of started falling apart. The money was going out faster than it was coming in. The biggest mistake I think that I made was I took too much money out on the house thinking that I was going to have a job.
The rest of the money went back into maintaining the home. Eric says the mortgage and bills add up to $3,000 a month. He now owes Wells Fargo almost $400,000. Without a steady job, he had...
Wait, 400,000? I feel like, Eric, you're maybe doing a little bit more shopping than just spending your money on this home.
Hasn't been able to pay his mortgage for 6 months. The house has been up for sale for almost a year without any luck.
When all that crumbles, I mean, you feel like a failure. Either rent a place around here or find some other place to live.
Also, back to the point I made earlier, I think it's really bizarre when they build these mansions in neighborhoods where the other homes don't belong. So I think that really hinders the selling value. What's something that works so well? It's like magic. How about selling with Shopify? Eventually, Sadie regained custody of her 5 children after she turned her life around and got clean. In 1999, Sadie actually opened her own nonprofit, Sadie Homes Help Service, but unfortunately, it was destroyed in 2004 by 4 hurricanes and a house fire, which I guess nothing was insured. But wait, 4 hurricanes, 2004, sadly destroyed. I'm reading this correctly, by 4 hurricanes and a house fire. So with all these hurricanes and a house fire, like, did the hurricane not put out the house? I guess it didn't happen at the same time, but damn, that's a lot to happen in one area. I don't know where she's from. I guess Orlando. It looks like Orlando. So Florida makes sense. In 2006, Sadie's luck turned around, so she thought, because she was selected for the show. The crew rebuilt the home and transformed the 900 square foot home, which is not like super small, but it's definitely not large, into a mansion with office space to serve as the base of operations for her nonprofit. In addition to the new home, the show's producers secured property tax payments and insurance coverage for her. So she should have been set up for success. Well, so she thought.
You completely turned your life around. Now you're helping other people do the same.
This is encouragement to me and to the community. Keep loving people and helping people, that one day they will succeed as well and be blessed for what they're doing.
Oh, she has such good energy. I feel so bad that the show effed her over.
It was a joke. I didn't think it was real.
I was just so pleased with just the color of the house.
This is crazy.
The landscape. Everything I like is there.
You like the house?
Oh.
They went from 900 square feet to this gargantuan house. I wonder what the rest of the houses in the neighborhood look like.
Holy crap. Wait, what? This is like an insanely large home. I'm still speechless. Like, how do they take a 900 square foot home into this gigantic mansion? Unfortunately, the cost of running her nonprofit became too great for Sadie to keep up with it. It cost about $2,000 a month to run the pantry, she told the News. Other expenses included the organization's truck insurance and gas, office supplies, and home upkeep. Now, an attempt to sell the home was made, but it didn't work out. Notably, the new home's location is in a neighborhood with barbed wire and junked cars. Oh my God, not this report going in. And it looks like it has a really bad house market. So no offers were made.
So they built the house, a mansion in the hood, basically. Like that's just wild and irresponsible. This is crazy.
And it was foreclosed on. So again, speaks to like they're building, like they're taking these people who are in vulnerable situations, typically low income, which is sad that they're in a situation, but putting them in a home like this in a neighborhood like that, I mean, it just doesn't make sense and it's not going to do well. And these people who are building it, they definitely know better. Now, for the Beach family, living in their home was more expensive than selling it. Larry and Melissa Beach raised and fostered over 85 children. They're based in Houston, and after a hurricane destroyed their home, the couple found themselves living with 15 children in a single family trailer. Now, in 2010, the family was chosen to be on the show. The crew built them an 8-bedroom home with enough space for the couple and children to live comfortably. Soon after the home built, however, the couple lost their 2-year-old daughter, Mercy, after she suffered a seizure. Larry and Melissa decided that they would no longer participate as foster parents. As the older children grew up and left the home, the couple found themselves in a big house that they didn't need, with increasing property taxes, too much for them to keep up with.
The Beach family struggled to sell their massive home and eventually lowered the asking price from $700,000 to $535,000. Larry told a reporter in 2013, "We are torn. The community put a lot into this house, and that's really the conflict we have struggled with."
Now, here's a really nasty story. Home Edition couple kicked out their 5 adopted kids after receiving their dream home. A North Carolina couple featured...
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Y'all not... What?
On the show pushed out their 5 adopted children and split them up once the show built them their dream house. The show built Devonda and James an 8-bedroom, 3,900 square foot home in December 2011. This is the Fridays family, which I love that last name, but the Fridays had just taken in 5 siblings and prevented them from living in separate homes. She said, "We made a vow to keep the family together." To do this, the family converted an upheated carport into a home for the siblings and implored the Extreme Makeover team to go and help them. Some 3,000 volunteers turned out to transform the home. One of the daughters was quoted saying, "I was like, wow, this is ours. Seeing what they did to our rooms and how we wanted it, I was shocked that they finally had something they could call home." One of the adopted children said, "I feel like they were my mom and dad. I loved them. They were like real parents." But Kamaya said that James and Devonda kicked her and Chris, her brother, out of the home within months after the show aired. Their 3 younger siblings, all at the time under the age of 10, were also kicked out. Chris said, "My brother and sisters were 5 years old. How can they get into that much trouble where they have to get kicked out?" Chris and Kamaya claimed their adoptions were motivated by money and as a hook to get on the show, which is kind of scary. It kind of reminds you of like teen pregnancy, like the teen pregnant show on Teen Mom on MTV, like people just trying to get pregnant as a teenager to get on the show. Here's a clip from that family's episode.
Friday family from Lincolnton was featured in 2011.
Extreme Makeover. We desperately need you.
We desperately need you to come and help us.
5 adopted children who were biological siblings, even...
This is wild. I got to look into this much closer because I don't know how people could be this cruel to children who've already been through such traumatic experiences. It's just disgusting.
Even changed their last name to Friday. They thought they had found a permanent family.
We made a vow to keep the family together.
And we made it happen.
I felt like they were my mom and dad. I loved them like they were my real parents. I did.
But Chris and Kamaya say everything changed after the TV cameras left town.
What they did to us was just wrong.
Yes,
Threw us all out.
Chris says he was sent to a group home because of a bad attitude a few months after recording the show. But
not a bad attitude, just a bad attitude.
As he was told, it was only temporary.
Why did I have to leave? You know, like I just didn't understand it, and it just made me feel not wanted. You know.
Kamaya says she was sent to a different group home a few months later and told the same thing.
"You gave me away." What parents don't do that? No.
Within a year, they say all 5 adopted children were gone from the house.
That is insane to me. It's like, how do you adopt a kid and then you just give them up? And kind of separately too, just kind of slowly knocking them away.
Yo, I have a 2-year-old pit bull, and I have considered rehoming him, but I felt so responsible. I didn't make the dog. I didn't have him when he was born. Got him at 6 months, and I felt so much shame, or like, why would I take him out of the shelter just to put him back in there? People take better care of their dogs than they do humans. Like, that's really disgusting to me.
Because they rushed these homes and they had a lot of random people working on them, a lot of the homes had problems with them. In addition to being money pits, some of the homes built for the show reportedly had structural problems. In a piece for Builder, John gathered comments from those involved with the show. One comment stated that the show is for entertainment and does not depict the reality of home construction in a quality way that requires time and money. I mean, they are pushing out these mansions. Of course, they're not going to put the best quality in there. They're going to cut the budget. One Reddit user shared that the house built in their town for the show has a number of problems with it. The owner went back to the show to get everything fixed, but was told that you got this for free, fix it yourself. Another Reddit user wrote about a fire station rebuilt for the show. According to the author's brother, a firefighter who's well-versed in construction, said the building was not up to code and the alarm system failed to work. Quote, the fire station was not functional at all, describing sinks that weren't even hooked up. A high school constructed for the show received similar complaints. The Reddit user wrote of a questionable paint color choice on the exterior, and inside the classrooms, the paint, which actually didn't go up all the way up to the wall or ceiling edge. So I guess they just painted it enough for the camera. Shows like this make me nervous for a reason, because there are too many vulnerable people out there who are easily taken advantage of by production teams. And essentially they have a product to deliver.
Woo, child. That is crazy. I appreciate y'all tapping in with me. I'm gonna try to do more lives, more reaction videos. So make sure you're subscribing to my social medias. It's Farrelly Lamar everywhere, or Farrelly McGilvery. Until the next video, peace.